Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're freediving off a kayak looking for crayfish in remote New Zealand. Plan for today is to target these things. Very weird looking, but this is the New Zealand red crayfish, or red spiny rock lobster as they're officially known, and in my opinion they're one of the best things you can eat from the ocean. Luckily on this mission, it didn't take too long before I found the first one of the trip. After a 4-hour drive, I was pretty keen to jump in and start looking. So here I am as the sun's on its way down, looking in some kelp and some boulders, and managed to find a nice cray tucked away in a little hole here. Once I find it, go in for a hard and fast grab. Had a go at the one next to it as well, but couldn't quite get the right angle. But still, not a bad way to start the trip. One nice try.
Awesome. I was actually starving, so this is actually a treat. So I'm not just saying that for the video, I'm so hungry. I've been driving for like 4 hours. Thought I'd just try and come get a little snapper or something, but reasonable cray.
The next day is when we really got into it. I decided to take the kayaks out and explore some stretches of coast. And as we paddled out, these conditions were just absolutely stunning. It was basically a whole glass off with bright blue skies, and it really made all the effort of getting up here worth it. Chucking the drone up to do a bit of scouting, and the conditions were just amazing. Viz was awesome, water was basically still, no swell, basically ideal conditions for kayak freediving. As we flew the drone around, we saw something shimmering from just below the surface, and it was a massive school of big kahawai moving all in perfect sync, which was a really cool thing to see, especially from above. Diving into the crystal clear water was pretty unreal, and it didn't take long to spot something cool. There was a sandagger's wrasse cruising around the bottom, so I broke open a kinner. I've heard you can hand feed these guys, and it turns out to be true. So dive back down, offer it to him, and yeah, he just comes and has a munch. Pretty awesome thing to be able to feed and touch wild fish. After about an hour of swimming around, I find this long crack hidden beneath some thick kelp, and decide to check it out. Here I am just looking around, and as I follow it upwards, I just find it's kind of full of crays. And there's one big one just around here that catches my eye. It doesn't have any feelers, but it sensed me coming, so crept back a bit. So I kept moving up along the crack, not wanting to scare it too much before having a go, and yeah, there were more crays. A lot of these on camera look like they're an alright size, but they're actually pretty small, and that big one is the only legal one. Had a crack at that big one off camera, but unfortunately missed, so just kept searching around, following Red Moki into his cave here. Always a good little trick I've found, and a lot of other guys have said that it works, and I found exactly the same. Just look at the terrain they hang out in. It's just the perfect kind of bouldery, cavey area where you'd expect to find crays. Really cool eagle ray here, sitting in the glistening water. see another red moki coming out from under a ledge, and as I duck dive down to investigate, on my way down I see another crack behind me that had some feelers sticking out, so I go in to check it out. This crack was indeed full of crays, and there's a good one just there to the right. Missing its feelers as well, which is weird, there are a couple on that trip, so line it up and take a grab. It puts up a bit of a fight, and after a while I felt it was trapped, so I just decided to head back to the surface and have another go in a few minutes. After that first attempt, I decided I'd leave it for a few minutes, and usually when you do that, if they're trapped, crays usually adjust a little bit, and that's exactly what this one did, and the horns were just exposed and managed to reach in and get a grab. Puts up a bit of a fight this time, but I was able to pull it out, and it was a pretty good cray. After a good few hours in the water and a long paddle out, about 40 minutes, I was pretty stoked to have that cray in the bag, but had seen another cool spot down the coast that looked very promising, so I decided to make another big paddle, beach the kayak, and walk to this new spot.
Hey everyone, so I've just hiked along the beach, gone for a bit of a hike, and I found this really cool, just real rocky coast. Check that out. I've got the dive gear over there, so yeah. Have the rest of the stuff parked up behind here. Really awesome place. So what I'm thinking is go for a swim just out there around that rock in the distance there, and just see what we can find. Yeah, it's usually very rough around here, but I saw on the drone that it was nice and still, so I thought I'd try my luck. But yeah, awesome day, awesome conditions, and this like prehistoric coast. Really cool.
Jumping in the new spot, and it looked very promising. The sun had come back out and the water was real nice and clear. It was a very rocky, bouldery kind of terrain, which is exactly where crays tend to hang out. Look at these big gutters here. That's exactly what I wanted to see, you know, covered in kelp. And yeah, so I just swam around for a bit and had a search. And it was worth it, all the swimming around. I do get onto a nice cray later on. So just carry on with the usual deal here, diving up and down into cracks and crevices, just looking for any big feelers sticking out. See the red moki here, which is always a good sign. And I just did this for about an hour or so. After a while of swimming around, I see this little spot and it just looks like it has life. There was little fish everywhere, the big moki in this kelp covered area, and I look under and there's a very deep ledge, and underneath, as you'll soon see, there were crays. That's a pack horse cray right there, and tucked in behind it were a few more.
There's a couple of crays down there, a couple of pack horse and a red. Probably go for the red first, and then if I'm desperate, might try for the pack horse, just because I'm not sure if they're legal.
The ledge was a lot deeper than I could reach in, so I had to get a bit creative with my approach to this one. And what I figured was, if I gave the feelers of the front pack horse a bit of a tickle, that as it shot back, maybe it would push out the red, and that's exactly what happened. the red now a bit pushed out of the crack, I had to come up with a more creative method to try and get it out. So what I'm doing here is just unloading the spear gun, and the plan was to use the spear to kind of nudge it out of the crack. What I decided to do was engage the flopper, the barb at the end of the spear, and use it as kind of like a hook to push the cray to the side and away from the deep hole. And you'll notice here, as I kind of am fiddling around with this spear inside the crack, I'm being very careful not to stab or try and puncture, because that's super illegal. Can't take crays that have a punctured shell. But yeah, I'm just nudging it to the side, hoping I can get it out. And to my surprise, it worked, and I was able to get a nice cray. Definitely my most creative grab to date. As you can probably tell by me carrying on through my snorkel, I was pretty happy with this one. After so long in the water and that big paddle from the last spot, it was a welcome surprise to get this cray, especially with that new method with the spear. After that second cray, I thought to try and do a bit of spearfishing, which I haven't really been very good at these last few missions. I've mainly just been looking for crays, but I set a little burley here, and as I creep up on it, there's a big moray eel right there where those arrows are, but not much else was going on, so I decided to just check out the eel and call it a day. With 2 crays in the bag, I was still pretty happy, even though I was slow on the fish, and then it was time for the big paddle home, which this is my first time kayak freediving, so it was a bit tough.
Yeah, anyway, look guys, thanks so much for watching, if you made it to the end. And to everyone who subscribed or likes or comments, you know, it's pretty awesome to see. I didn't expect there to be like 400 people subbed. I know in YouTube terms that's not very much, but to me it's a huge number, so thanks so much, and I'm going to do my best to try and make some more videos and just, you know, kind of showcase New Zealand's coast, because it really is amazing, the things you can do and how accessible it is, even for shore diving. So yeah, cheers for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, hopefully soon.